It all started on the third day after crash. The human, whose name was Jack, had been the only survivor from the downed exploration shuttle. His beacon had gone silent when the storm knocked out half the electronics, and so far, no rescue ship had come. He had food, water, a makeshift shelter, and a slight headache, but no real problems. At least, not until she showed up. She wasn't human. That much was obvious the moment she strode into his little clearing like she owned the place. Tall, lean, with skin that shimmered faintly blue under the twin suns, the alien woman carried herself like a soldier, all stiff posture and scanning eyes. A sleek spear-like weapon hung over one shoulder. Her eyes locked on Jack, as if he were a wild animal. "You there," she said, her voice low, almost musical. "Drop the object." Jack blinked, halfway through chewing on a ration bar. "What object?" She motioned sharply toward his hip. Jack followed her gaze. Oh no, the bulge. Jack went crimson. "That's, not what you think it is." Her spear came up a fraction. "It is a concealed weapon, yes? Organic camouflaging? Some kind of kinetic launcher under the fabric." Jack threw his hands up. "No, absolutely not. Look, it's part of me, okay? Not a weapon." She hesitated. Her bright, slitted eyes narrowed. "Part of you? Explain." Jack groaned. Of all the ways to die on an alien planet, this had to be the dumbest. Hashtag the accusation. She didn't lower the spear. Jack scrambled for words that would make this infinitely worse. "Look, you know how your people probably have, anatomy differences? This is a private thing. Human biology. Nothing dangerous." Her expression didn't change. He sighed. "It's supposed to be there." Supposed to be? Her grip on the spear didn't relax. For what purpose? Hunting? Defense? Jack coughed. "Not exactly. More like reproduction?" That did it. Her face shifted from suspicion to outright horror, then to a strange, calculating look, as if she were evaluating the engineering specs of a missile launcher. "You reproduce with that?" she asked flatly. Jack covered his face with his hands. This conversation was going places no survival manual had prepared him for. Hashtag the cultural gap. The alien woman finally lowered her spear, but only slightly. Her curiosity burned hotter than her caution now. "In my species," she said slowly, "males and females share no external components. Reproduction is handled internally, through carefully arranged genetic transfers." Jack muttered, "Lucky you." She tilted her head. "So this protrusion, it serves no combat purpose?" "No combat purpose." "Then why is it so visible?" Jack threw his arms out. "I don't control that. It's not like I planned these things." The woman stared, processing this new and alarming data. "So it emerges at random, like a hostile creature?" Jack laughed despite himself. "No, not hostile, just biological. Look, can we please talk about literally anything else?" But she was hooked now, a scientist stumbling across the galaxy's weirdest discovery. Hashtag the name problem. "I will need a designation," she said seriously. "A what?" "For documentation," she explained. "If this is a standard feature of human males, my people must be informed. What do you call it?" Jack's brain short-circuited. I'm not telling you that." Her expression turned even more clinical. "We have words for all our anatomy. Precision prevents confusion." "Yeah, well, Earth words that aren't exactly for polite company." She crossed her arms. "Then I will invent my own." "Please don't." Too late. She was already muttering to herself in her native language, syllables clicking and humming like a musical instrument being tuned. Jack groaned. "I'm going to die here. Not from the crash. Not from starvation. From embarrassment." Hashtag the weapon demonstration. The alien woman wasn't done. Not even close. "If this is truly not a weapon," she said, eyes gleaming with mischief now, "you will not mind demonstrating its harmlessness." Jack nearly choked. "Excuse me." She gestured vaguely at his lower half. "Prove it. Show that it does not detach and attack prey." Jack sputtered. "It doesn't attach at all." "Prove it." "I am not dropping my pants in the middle of the jungle to satisfy alien curiosity." She shrugged. "Then I must assume it is dangerous." Jack pointed at her spear. "That's rich, coming from the one carrying a pointy stick." "This pointy stick," she said coolly, "has never randomly inflated under duress." Jack turned bright red. It wasn't under duress. Hashtag the unfortunate incident. As if the universe wanted to make things worse, a sudden rustling came from the underbrush. Jack froze. The alien woman spun toward the sound, spear ready. And because fate had no mercy, the unexpected motion, and Jack's adrenaline spike, made the Bulge situation slightly more obvious. The alien woman gasped and leapt back like he'd just armed a bomb. "It's activating," she shouted. Jack nearly screamed. "It's not activating." "Defensive display mechanism?" she demanded, keeping the spear train on him. "No." Jack threw his arms up to the sky. "It's not a mechanism. It's not a threat. It's... Oh my God, why am I explaining this?" From the bushes, a small furry creature scampered out, utterly uninterested in them. The alien woman blinked at it. then at Jack. Then, slowly, realization dawned. Hashtag the apology. Oh, she said softly. OH, Jack mimicked bitterly. You think. She lowered her spear for real this time, her cheeks, if they were cheeks, darkening to a faint purple hue. Alien blushing, apparently. I may have misinterpreted, she admitted. You think. Jack snapped, still red as a tomato. You threatened to skewer me over basic human anatomy. In my defense, she said primly. It was unusually shaped. Jack groaned into his hands. I'm never living this down. Hashtag the education session. But she wasn't quite done. Oh no, her scientific curiosity had shifted gears entirely now. So this structure plays no role in hunting, but is essential for your species' reproduction? Yes, Jack muttered, sitting on a log. And it changes size? Sometimes. It's complicated. She nodded solemnly, as if he were explaining quantum physics. Fascinating. Is it detachable in any scenario? No. She made a note on some kind of wrist device. Jack peeked. The alien text scrolled rapidly, symbols flickering. He caught one that looked suspiciously like a doodle. Are you sketching it? He demanded. For science, she said innocently. Jack buried his face in his hands again. Hashtag the final blow. By nightfall, they had set up a small fire. The alien woman finally introduced herself as Kayla, a scout from some nearby outpost. She promised to signal her people for rescue in the morning. Jack relaxed slightly. Maybe this nightmare would end soon. Then Kayla said, far too casually, my commander will have many questions about this non-weapon. I will need a full verbal report. Jack choked on his water. You're going to tell other people? Of course. It may have evolutionary significance. Evolutionary. It's not a science project. Kayla tilted her head. Your species seems oddly defensive about perfectly natural features. Because, Jack said through gritted teeth, we don't usually wave them around in conversation like trading cards. She considered this, then nodded. A cultural taboo. Interesting. Jack groaned. Hashtag the rescue ship. Morning came. The rescue beacon worked. As the ship descended, Kayla stood beside him, looking far too amused for someone who had nearly skewered him the day before. My people will have questions, she warned. Jack slumped. Of course they will. And diagrams may be requested. No, diagrams. She smirked. We will see. As the shuttle doors opened, Jack realized with dawning horror that Kayla was already practicing how she would explain things to her commander, loudly, using very descriptive hand gestures. Jack decided he might just stay on the planet after all.